Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building, Stacey Tisdale. Welcome back.
Always a pleasure.
And you brought somebody with you today?
I did. We have Danielle McCoy from Fannie Mae.
Oh, man, Fannie Mae.
And
how much money did I pay back to Fannie Mae?
I heard you still haven't paid. Oh, okay.
That's why we're really here.
She's not coming to collect, is she?
That's why we're really here.
Now, what's going on here? Why is
Well,
Danielle...
you know why. We're getting ready for Wealth Wednesday.
Correct.
At Juices for Life.
And you're joining us.
Yes, I am.
You're going to tell us about house flipping.
A little bit, house flipping and not really flipping, more tenants.
Investing,
yeah, more tenants. We do about 2 flips a year, 3 flips a year, but more into holding the property, holding the tenants in there, and giving something to my kids that they can always have some type of money coming in when I die, when they die, when their grandkids die, that they'll always have that income coming in.
It's a good lesson.
Yeah, it's a great lesson. So let's get right to it.
Yes, I was reading an article about Fannie Mae. And just recently they were saying that now because of some new regulations that you guys have, it will be easier for people to be able to get a mortgage?
Well, I think it's a lot easier to get a mortgage than people think, I'd say. A lot of people, we've done a lot of studies, and first I'd say Fannie Mae does not give mortgages. So, and we're not the student loan company. A lot of people think we are. They confuse us with Sallie Mae. But what Fannie Mae does is we provide access to capital so that lenders can give safe and affordable mortgages.
So explain what Fannie Mae is. What is Fannie Mae for somebody out there listening?
Sure. So Fannie Mae we're in the secondary mortgage market. So basically what we do is we buy mortgages or we buy loans from lenders, and then we sell them in the capital market. So we sell them on Wall Street. And that money that we're making from doing that is funding the mortgage market.
So that's interesting. So for instance, when I first bought my house, it was a different mortgage company, and then my mortgage was sold to another company.
Correct.
So that would be Fannie Mae.
It could be sold to Fannie Mae. It could be sold to a different entity that participates in the secondary market, but correct.
Now, how can Fannie Mae help the people? So how does that help people?
So how do we help people? We help people because by providing this liquidity, providing this capital, it makes mortgages cheaper. You know, I think we take for granted that we have 30-year fixed mortgages in this country, and we make those mortgages accessible. We also work with our lenders to figure out the needs of people today and make sure that the products really meet the needs. So you asked me about products to make it easier. There are a lot of low down payment products that we have. One is our Home Ready mortgage. If you're low income, you only have to put 3% down. So that's an example of a way we make it easier for someone to get a mortgage.
You have to have a credit score of 620 for 3% down, or 3.5% you have to have a credit score of 580. So don't just think you go there with a credit score of 300 and say, I'm going to put 3% down. It doesn't work like that.
But they've come up with so many interesting ways, too, to help people improve their credit scores, also to get access to funds with things you never thought of. That's one of the things we wanted to talk about today. A lot of people out there didn't know that they can do things like use crowdfunding for a down payment. While that sounds like a nice idea, there's a real company, CMG Financial.
Wait a minute, you could crowdfund?
You can crowdfund. You can check out homefundit.com.
But you can't, because ain't nobody donating money for you.
Why can't I?
Because we're going to talk about why Fannie Mae is here to talk to you later after the show. There are some issues.
Wait, anybody could crowdfund?
Yeah,
anyone can crowdfund. You just have to link it. You have to link it to your Twitter, your other social media accounts, and you can ask your neighbors, your friends.
Because you could get a one-time gift, and that's considered that one-time gift.
You can get a one-time gift. You can get many gifts. Now we're talking. Okay,
now we're talking. So somebody out there, if you don't have the deposit for your 3% or your closing costs, you can set up a crowdfunding, and
there is actually a company. And when you look for lenders, you want to look for Fannie Mae lenders. And Danielle was telling you about the technical market side, but what they also do is they provide suggestions and products for lenders to help serve people.
Correct.
So they're working with this company, CMG Financial, CMGI.com. And what they do is they help you crowdfund and crowdsource to raise your down payment. And that product's called HomeFundit at homefundit.com. And they also do give you financial education products. So if you crowdfund and you do their financial education course, you're also eligible for grants for your down payment. Put that aside, because you can also use Airbnb now. They've come up with products where you can use Airbnb towards your down payment, like if you're renting out Airbnb. But what's really cool about that is we always talk about in Wealth Wednesday and everything that we're in a gig economy now. Everybody's got side hustles. Everybody's got multiple streams of income. We never used to know how to count that. That's income. So a lender should consider it when they're giving you a mortgage. But now Fannie Mae worked with Airbnb and now some other companies that if you can show, I get money from Airbnb, it will count towards your overall income. And there's one company that actually, if you say, I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to use one of the rooms for Airbnb, they'll kind of partner with you on it. So there's the Airbnb, there's the crowdfunding, there's all sorts of different interesting ways out there that people never thought of. Uber income.
Correct. And we're continuing to innovate to make sure that we're meeting today's needs. So another example, and one of the biggest issues facing housing today is supply. So people might know that they're qualified, they might have the over 620 credit score, figured out how to get the down payment, they're looking for a house, they can't find any affordable houses in their price range. And when they find houses that are affordable, they need some TLC. And they say, oh, how am I going to pay for that TLC? That takes a lot of work. That's a lot of upfront money. Well, we have a product called, or a program called Home Style Renovation. And in Home Style Renovation, the repair cost and your mortgage are bundled into one. So you can pick the house of your dreams in your dream neighborhood, repair it all without using your funds out front, and then when you start paying it off when you pay off your mortgage.
They give you 100% of renovation, right? 100% of the renovation they give you?
Correct.
That's an amazing thing to be able to do, because a lot of times you might want to buy a house in a particular neighborhood, but like you said, everything that's already been fixed up might be too expensive. But now here's a house that I can't afford, but I can't maybe, after I buy it, I still have to worry about renovating it. And so the capability of being able to get all of that bundled in your mortgage, and then a lot of times it is cheaper to fix it up yourself, and you get to make it how you want it.
Exactly.
Which is really important to me. I love buying houses that need work. I did that with the house that I'm in now. I had to fix everything. It was completely gutted out. And then I have the houses I'm rehabbing in Detroit. And the way that I did that was, those are complete gut renovations. But I enjoy that just because I'm able to say, this is the color floors I want. I hate shiny wood floors. So I like to make sure I don't have that, and I can get everything done exactly how I want it, make the kitchen bigger, knock this wall down. And a lot of times, the other issue is finding people to do the work. And that's been sometimes a challenge, because a lot of times we're told this is what the renovation will cost, and then it ends up being a whole lot more than that. So what happens in a scenario like that?
Well, with the home style renovation mortgage, your lender would work with you, and there's it. I think the good thing is, if you're unfamiliar with the process, a lender would work with you to make sure that your estimates seem reasonable, and that the work is being done by someone that's licensed and reputable.
That's important.
You're not on your own.
You're not just on your own, and I think it helps people through that type of process.
That's great, because you don't want to just have to go out there and find a contractor yourself, because sometimes that can be difficult experience.
And they have products where you can get mortgages with friends and family. So suppose you and your friend wanted to buy a piece of real estate together, and you saw some dilapidated property in a place like Detroit. You could, go in, buy that mortgage together. And that's something people should be mindful of when they're buying houses. Suppose you're going to end up renting a room in your house to your cousin Joe. If you know that in advance, there's now products where you can tell the bank, I'm going to be getting $200 a month. And now what Fannie Mae's done is say, hey, we're in a new economy. You got home ownerships at its lowest level since the early 90s, which is insane. And for our community, it's just way over the top. But now they're giving you all these different ways to, get real about how the economy is right now.
Now, what about some of those Fannie Mae foreclosures?
That's what we wanted to talk to you about.
What about some of those foreclosures? I know Fannie Mae has a lot of foreclosures. How can people get in touch with some of those?
Homepath.com. We have a website, homepath.com.
Homepath.com.
Yes.
And you could bid on the properties and everything.
That's where you would look at our
foreclosures.
We call foreclosure, or REO. We call them REO for
Oreos.
sale. Yeah. not Ben Carson. Oreos for sale.
They come with Oreos. The homes come with Oreo cookies. Okay. You heard it here. But you can check out the REO homes. And
correct, on homepath.com.
So let me just get this straight for a lot of people that don't know. So Fannie Mae does not give mortgages.
We do not provide mortgages.
You're in the business of purchasing mortgages, selling mortgages, and it
provides money
gotcha.
So that mortgages can be made.
But so you really want to look for a lender that is a correct. Fannie Mae lender. A lot of lenders are. Like if you go to your bank, if you go to a mortgage company that a lot of them are Fannie Mae lenders. If you go my site, mindmoneymedia.com, we have some stories and directories on how you can find a Fannie Mae lender. But it's pretty much an easy process, and they have some great financial education products. And it's just, finding the right person. And Danielle and I were just talking about when you pick out a home, you should put as much time into finding the mortgage company too, and finding the mortgage.
Yes, I cannot overestimate how important it is to educate yourselves on the types of mortgages that are available and what you want to spend, and shop. We shop for hotels.
Right.
We shop for the best airfare. We need to shop for the best mortgage. The government recently did a study. 3 out of 4 people don't go to more than one mortgage lender, but the price can vary by as much as 0.5%. So 0.5% doesn't seem like a lot, but if you take a $300,000 mortgage, that's about paying a rate of 4% as opposed to 4.5 means you could save about $1,000 a year.
Right.
And that adds up after 30 years. So you really need to shop around for a mortgage.
The problem with us is a lot of times we just try to find whoever's going to get us approved. We found a house that we love, and, our credit score is a little shaky. Maybe income's a little shaky. So we just really just hope that any lender is going to give us the approval. That's what it is most of the time.
But one thing you mentioned, you said we found a house that you loved. What if you really spent time researching the mortgage before you find the house that you love? You flip the process a bit.
Right.
So you started working with the lender, you thought about the mortgage, you figured out what the opportunities were, what financing you were comfortable with, and then you started looking for the house that you
So that's
love.
like getting pre-approved before you go and
But
start.
that
That's one
pre-approval
example.
is
Not
always
even like-
Not
bull
exactly
crap, though.
pre-approval.
I got
but-
pre-approved before I bought my house, and it helped me a lot.
The thing
Pre-approval
is,
just get you in the door.
but
That's
so
like
many people don't know
bull
what's
crap.
out there. Like Fannie Mae, you can 3% down. FHA, you can put 0% down. All of these funky products that we're talking about, the Airbnb, using your side hustle income towards it. Mortgage companies out there are trying to help,
Right.
and people don't think
take
they have
advantage of
options.
that.
So many people don't. They think home ownership is outside of their reach, and it's just not. There's so much out there.
When I did my pre-approval, it helped me determine how much I could spend on a house because I had underestimated what I would be able to afford. And then it helped me because, Brooklyn is a very competitive market, especially when I was looking for my home. And so it helped me because that way, when it was time for me to say I want this house, I was already pre-approved, so they knew that it would be okay, and I didn't have to worry about somebody else, which could still happen, but snatching it from me because I could say, here, I'm pre-approved already. I can take it. I want to do it.
And home ownership is, the greatest way to pass on wealth, a great way to build wealth. It's not for everybody. I know in our community, from the beginning, we've been so focused on real estate, equating real estate with success, largely because we were locked out of the real estate market. We weren't allowed to buy homes. But there's really some things you should consider. First of all, after tax income, 30% of your after-tax income is what you should spend on housing if you don't want to feel financial stress. I personally am comfortable with financial stress, so it doesn't bother me, but that's that 30% benchmark is good. If you need no mobility, if hey, my job's going to move me in 2 years, it's probably not a great idea to be a homeowner right now. And also, really look at what your goals and your plans are, and then think about other options. Like our community's getting more and more into stocks and stuff, but home ownership is not for everybody. But that being said, it is available to more people than realize.
So this Wednesday at Juices for Life, we're going to be talking about all this. What should they be looking to learn when they come on Wednesday?
They should be looking to figure out if they want to own a home, and then they should be really open to, how am I going to get that home? Not if I can get that home. We're going to be talking about all sorts of options about, the low to no down payments, all these other ways that incomes can come. We're going to have somebody there from CMG Financial who can tell you about crowdsourcing and how the company will help you do that. I know we have our Wealth Wednesday on Instagram. On my Twitter, which is at @Tisdale1, we're just posting. You guys are posting information. June is National Home Ownership Month. And we thought it was important, and I know Angela and I talk about home ownership. It's important for people to know what's out there because, you can go out there and drive an Uber, and you can use that to qualify for a mortgage, and it's just a great time, and everybody needs to know.
Now, you also talked about earlier about getting a 3% loan. Now, with that requires people to stay in the house for at least a year, correct or no?
No,
No.
that's not correct.
So you ain't got to stay in the house for a year?
But the
And only
program,
3%
the
down?
Home Ready program, though, you do have to be low income.
What is low income? What is the
It's
qualifications
different
of
in
low
every.
income?
It's different in every market, so it's based on the market, and it's
Right.
based on the area median income in that market.
Okay. So
Yeah, I'm
low
sure
income?
that New York would be different than
Correct. Than Florida.
Hell yeah.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
because here is very difficult. I feel like New York. What do you think is one of the most difficult markets to buy a house in? I know San Francisco. They talk about how difficult housing is there.
San Francisco is the supply. For San Francisco, the supply is very low, which makes the prices really high. New York as well. There have actually been studies where they've shown how much it costs to have how much the median mortgage is as compared to the median rent in various markets. And New York has one of the bigger differences of like $800 or $900 between the median rent and the median mortgage payment. But you have places like Florida where the gap is really small. It's like under about $300. So you are correct. New York is one of the more expensive markets to buy.
We got to be careful and not get scared because, like Envy, you were touching on, where some of us get so excited that we got approved that we're not thinking of, we have so many other options. It's like payday lenders. Some of us get so desperate in a cash situation, we'll go to those and get locked into that cycle. But there are other options. And we were just talking about some of the things that we should avoid. There was a Duke University study, which you would know more about, that just shows how the Black community was targeted between 1950 and 1970 with the type of, rent?
Contract for deed.
Contract for deed.
And so what these are, this happened, and the history of this is when the New Deal happened and you were able to get loans for housing, any neighborhood that had any type of integration wasn't eligible. The government was not eligible for government loans for housing. So for African American, correct, it was redlining, and there actually are maps with red sections that show this. So it literally is redlining, but African Americans still wanted to get houses, and so one way they would get a house is a contract for deed. And the way it would work is you do a contract with someone and say, over 30 years, I'll pay you every month, and at the end of that, if I don't miss any payments,
Then I own the house.
I
But
remember so many
but think
uncles
about
talking
this:
about that.
if I don't miss a payment in 30 years,
But if you miss that payment, it's over for you. If you miss
Correct.
one payment or pay
Correct.
late.
And the other thing that's interesting about this, when you
That's like a land contract. Is that what they call it?
that's another name that people use. What's interesting about this, when you rent, if your toilet goes up, the landlord comes and fixes it, right? In a lot of these contract for deed situations, you were acting like the owner. So you were making improvements to the house. If something needed to be repaired, you were paying for it. People were doing all of that, but yet not actually owning the property. And so
Right.
they were making improvements on something else that someone else owned, and then miss a payment, they no longer
Yeah,
have
they always
it.
say that's kind
So
of a sketchy way
That's
to-
a predatory practice, and that's why it's so important that people educate themselves on home ownership and the different vehicles that are available, and don't feel desperate and really take their time. And we also have a website that can help people through the home ownership process, and that's knowyouroptions.com.
Okay.
That
Well,
study also found that they were charging people of color about 85% more for houses during this period than other ones. So sometimes it's, we don't want to team up with our lender, but our lender could help us red flag certain situations. And it's, just our big message is you are not alone, and there is just so much out there for everybody.
Well, we don't want to give everything away because we will be at Wealth Wednesday.
That's
We will.
Make sure, and this is open to everyone, but you do need to RSVP.
Yep.
So make sure you do RSVP, and the information is on the Juices for Life BK page. It's on Stacey. It's on your page.
It's on mindmoneymedia.com, and
Now you see it on
Stacey
our page.
Tisdale Money, and it's live streamed on Angela's Facebook page at 7 p.m.
So even if you can't make it, you can still get this information.
live stream it, and we have DJ Envy with
yes,
us.
I'll be there.
Uh-huh.
It'll
I'll
be a
there.
good one.
It should be fun.
very
Well, thank you,
excited.
Stacey, for joining us, and Danielle McCoy. We'll see you
Thank
tomorrow
you.
night at Juices for Life, Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Get there early. And it's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.